So you got some sound on that one, huh?
Whoa. Hello, YouTube.
Hello. Welcome to the Taste Stations podcast.
Now that'll be in my head for the next 3 days instead of Dolly Parton.
How about Dolly Parton doing that Taste Stations jingle?
I'm sure AI could create.
There's
that.
enough AI stuff out there that should be hard to come up with.
Anyway, poor Dolly.
There's a lot of crazy AI stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. All right.
No, neither's Forrest Frank. Although some of it is pretty good.
Nip.
You know it.
It's not real people. Hello, hello.
Hello from the other side. So,
hello from the other side.
I mean, truthfully, it's hard to tell on some of the stuff because, like, Elon Musk actually doesn't exist. He's AI.
He's AI.
Yep, he is an AI robot.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever listened to him or looked at him? I mean,
I think he just has a touch of the tism.
The dude. Well, and he's South African, but
right.
You know, there's a touch of an accent mixed in there too.
I think he's just an awkward dude, which I can.
Well, I can't put it all on being South African because I'm you know, what's her name from
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, that one. I kept coming up with Katherine Heigl in my mind for some reason.
She's not South African.
Different blonde, but
wow. You're saying they all look the same?
I'm saying all white people look the same.
She's white. That white lady.
That white African lady. We're off to the offensive start. We're canceled out. 1 minute in, and we're already canceled.
It's been a long January,
which is good. I'm feeling happy when we start to have some controversy. It's a good thing. But
who's uncanceled? Somebody was uncanceled recently. I forget.
Like literally reversed the canceling, or that's the name of a podcast? Because
they've reversed.
I think that's
canceling.
A good name for a podcast, actually.
They've somehow reversed the canceling, but I don't remember who.
Does that mean they caved to the pressure of society?
Probably. I don't know. Anyway,
I just realized I'm holding my mug the way you make fun of me again.
Because it's strange, and now your phone's ringing. Rich is very busy all the time.
Naturally, it's Dr. Garrett.
Oh well. Hello, Doctor.
Okay. So if my son happens to listen, I don't think my daughter does, but if my son happens to listen, that's your sister, because whenever there's something going on, my daughter, Jessie, always calls. The moment you put the food on the table, the moment you're in the middle of something really important,
well,
she's going to call. It doesn't matter what or why. It just that it's somehow that's her.
She knows.
It's her thing.
She knows. So, anyway, we're back to normal this week. Normal?
I love my daughter. And I love to hear from my daughter.
Hate my children.
Nice. I thought about that in the middle of the sermon or toward the end of the sermon.
I saw it in your sermon notes because I was looking at the notes for Shelly.
And
like,
I tried
to say it.
I tried so hard not to, look at Dennis or make a comment.
Because none of your children were here that day.
It was fun.
But I saw it in the notes because I was going to go down and get.
And
Shelly.
I knew everybody in the band was thinking of that soundbite. So.
Anyway, we're back to normal this week, sort of.
As normal as we get. I don't know if either one of us, especially collectively, I don't know if we've ever been described as normal.
I for sure have not. But apologies to any sound issues we've had over the past couple of weeks. We've had a couple guest speakers, and it's been great, but it is not always easy when you're trying to connect via.
Yeah. Did we have any sound trouble with Caleb?
I think we did with Caleb.
Caleb's came out pretty good.
Yeah. But anyway.
And Matthews was good precast, when we were doing it.
Right.
But he had an echo, and then when he switched to the headphones, his sound quality dropped.
And then for some reason I just
Stacy just decided to take the podcast off,
I'm like,
halfway
I'm done
through
with
she
this.
just left. So
bye. Anyway, I was at home and my cat kept interrupting me. So I was like, I'm done with this.
I think I heard one meow at one point.
Because I put her in the other room. I was like, you got to go. Anyway.
It was all good.
It was a little pistachio.
And then later on, she was unlocked.
She was. So she does not like being locked anywhere.
And the Lord does not like having us lock up his blessings with disobedience. So that's
truth.
As we got back to Deuteronomy and kind of come back to chapter 7, it's interesting to me every time. This happens pretty regularly because particularly in these longer books, we have longer series, right? So as we're going
We've been in
through,
this for over a year now, right?
probably, yeah, or about a year,
Yeah.
anyway. I think we started last
January.
end of last January, beginning of last February, and then we take the breaks for Easter, a couple of weeks around that. We take a break
Christmas.
for Christmas, or on the rare occasions that I'm not here. But it's weird to me to come back to the series that we've been in after being away from it, and try to just pick up from there.
Mhm.
And I have to kind of remind myself, it's been
A while.
2 months since we've done it. And we've been stained by that song, by the way.
I don't want to move my microphone because my wire is
I
getting
got a little
weird, but
cable issue.
I feel like I'm hunched over.
And all of a
for the-
sudden we have no more Stacy
Anyway.
again. But I have to remind myself that after 2 months away, this isn't the same group of people that was here, in November.
Right.
So that then hopefully reminds me that week to week, it's not always the same group of
Sure.
people either. So every time every time I preach, or anybody preaches, when you come, there are going to be people in the congregation that may not have been there for the rest of us. So you have to kind of go back and recap at least a little bit. So we wanted to do that with Deuteronomy 7, and kind of catch up to where where we were in the story.
Mhm.
And really, as whenever we're looking at really anything, we want to be aware of where we are in the story of humanity, of creation.
Context matters.
It really does. And so if we don't, if we're studying, let's say, Romans, and we don't understand what happened in Genesis and what's going to happen in Revelation, if we don't grasp how this all fits together, then we're going to miss important elements of the context of what God's saying to us as we go through it. So as we recap this week, we kind of picked up with Exodus, and we know that in Genesis, God creates everything. It creates everything for his own purposes. We exist, all of us as human beings exist for his glory, for his pleasure. And so, as the Westminster would put it, the chief end of man, our chief purpose for being, a reason for existing, is to glorify. And so there's a relational element, relational context, but the why of it is we exist for him, for his good pleasure. And God, being the only God, the only true and living God, the holy God, the mighty God, is rightly to be feared. Any being, as if there could be another, who speaks the cosmos into existence, who exists in himself, the only self-existent being. That's God's aseity, that he is self-existent. He is uncaused. There is nothing else in the universe that is anything remotely close to this. Even the most ancient things had a time when they were not.
It's funny because George, it blows his mind,
Of
that
course, and
he's
it should.
like, well,
It should blow our minds.
Like, I don't understand. Did God make this and God make that? And did God make this building? I said, well, God made man who made this. So it's,
Yeah.
he's grasping that, was God bigger than the universe? Is God bigger than that? And so
Yeah.
it's blowing his 8-year-old
Absolutely.
mind. And, he's asking all these questions. Did God make that? Did God do this? Is God this big? When was God born? So
Right.
it's these questions that I'm like, yeah, it's just everything. But at the same time, you're right. It kind of, when you're forced to think about it again from an adult perspective, it blows your mind just as much.
It should.
Right.
If it doesn't, we're either not thinking deeply enough, or we are so self-absorbed that we're not
Well, I
recognizing
don't
the
think
weight
you
of
can
it.
think deeply enough. Like my little mind can't grasp something that was always there. Like,
Right.
when was God born? He just always was.
None of us truly can,
right.
because that's not part of our
Right.
understanding, our experience in existence. So because nothing can create anything, right? Nothing can create nothing, or nothing can come
Everything
from
is
nothing.
something.
Everything is something. So for there to have been anything ever, there must have been something
Right.
before,
Right.
right? And so if God is that,
Right.
and he is, He's the uncaused cause, the prime mover. Everything finds its initial, primary, ultimate cause in him. Then to fear God is the only logical thing, right? If we see him, if we know him, then just like Isaiah receiving a vision in Isaiah 6, what other response is there but woe to me? I'm ruined. I'm a man of unclean lips from a people of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the Lord. So to recognize just the sheer, even as I try to use these words, I feel insufficient in saying it, but just the sheer power and gravity of who God is so overwhelming that it should take our breath away and just lay us low. Then you couple that with the reality not only of his greatness, but of his holiness, that he is entirely other. And we can't comprehend true holiness because we don't experience it in our lives, not from ourselves, not from those around us. The only picture of true and absolute holiness is God. And we see that manifest in Jesus. So apart from Jesus, we're stuck with this comparison to other people. With Jesus, he spends his entire existence, pre-incarnate, post-incarnate, if I can say that, his earthly ministry completely surrendered and longing for the will of the Father. So everything that he does is that. Jesus is the picture of what we were created to be, what we were supposed to be. He becomes that in the flesh. So as each of us do our own thing with all of the sins that we think they're small, to err is human. So yeah, I'm a sinner, you're a sinner, but you're a good person, I'm a good person. We don't get it. Right? We don't comprehend rightly if we think there is any good person before a holy God. Okay, so all of that leads us to why all of the sacrifices, the Messiah, Christ dying on the cross for us. Why does all of this matter? It matters because we were created for a perfectly intimate relationship with the holy God. And we threw that away. Can't have that relationship. We can't live out our existence. And yet God, still in the book of Genesis, calls out from the wretched, rebellious human race a man, a people. He's called all of us to this. And the human race as a whole suppresses the truth by its wickedness, by our wickedness. I don't want to exclude myself from it. God calls, ultimately, we see God calls Abram. And Abram's not looking for God. Right. God calls him out, says, "You're mine," makes promises to him, gives him signs and commands. Because you're mine, this is how you're going to live. Fast forward to the Exodus. After having gone through all of the generations that led them to Egypt, and after 4 centuries of being in Egypt, most of which was time as slaves, God delivers his people. Now they've grown from one man to a family to this vast nation of a couple million people, or however many the actual count is, but a lot of folks would put it in that area of maybe 2 million people. Number doesn't matter. They're vast. They were nothing. Now they're vast. Okay, so God calls them. He delivers them now from this bondage that they're in. He says, "You're my people," brings them to Mount Sinai after these fantastic, wonderful, amazing, mighty, terrible signs that God does in Egypt to deliver them from the mightiest nation on earth at the time. He brings them out. He takes them aside, sets them apart, gives them the expression of his heart in his law and his commands. Because you're my people, I'm holy, therefore you live as holy to me, right? Be holy because I'm holy. So he separates his people, but his people keep wanting, see if this sounds familiar, keep wanting to be like everyone else. His people keep wanting the benefits that God provides, that he provides to everyone because he's benevolent. They want the benefits of Egypt. They want the benefits of God. They don't want to actually surrender to what God has called them to be and to do.
Right.
So fast forward again to Deuteronomy. They've rejected God's plan and his protection and his presence, and he sends them on this journey through the wilderness for 40 years. They were already at the doorstep of the promised land. So Book of Numbers, they're wandering as their sentence, as their judgment from God, as this generation will fall in the wilderness, and I'll keep my promise to the new generation. The new generation now gets here. That's where we are in Deuteronomy. And Moses preparing them by the word of the Lord, preparing them to go into this promised land, to do and to be what God has called them to do and to be. He reminds them of the covenant. He reminds them of their covenant history with God, the reality that they have been unfaithful. God has been faithful. And despite their unfaithfulness, God has still blessed them. The judgments that God has brought against them and against those around them display his righteousness, his holiness, his justice, and he has called them to live that out. So he has this reiteration of the Ten Commandments, and now as they're going in for the next couple of chapters, he's really taken stuff that he's already said and he's hammering it home to say, look, do not forget. I went through in my other Bible, in my working Bible, not my preaching Bible. I went through and I was just highlighting, just in chapters 6, 7, 8, and especially 7 and 8, where God is calling them to follow his commands. Be careful to follow my commands. And coupled with that over and over is remember what the Lord did for you. Remember. So as we looked, we'll see it this week again, as you're dealing with the fears that you're going into this land and you're going to have this trepidation, that's normal, but remember who God is. Remember the past. Remember what he's done. And that tells you, it doesn't mean you won't have fear, but it tells you don't need to fear. You don't have a reason for that because God's never failed you. God has done all these mighty things. So as we were looking at this, at last week's section of Deuteronomy 7, verses 12 to 16, we saw that the Lord gives his very best to those who live wholeheartedly. So in this piece, what we're seeing is that God he's telling them, and Moses is hammering home to them, look, if you will do what you're called to do, if you will come and just surrender, all that we see in keeping the law has less to do with the religious ritual that we so often associate with the legalistic, do these things and God will be pleased. And has more to do with the fact that God has chosen you. You're his. Give into that. Submit, surrender, let yourself be who you're made to be, who you're called to be, and stop resisting. Because God wants to give you all this stuff. And if you'll just do that, if you'll just not be stupid, if you'll not be rebellious, not be stubborn, not try to pursue your own thing instead of what I'm giving you, then you can have a blessed life. Speaking to Israel, you will have a blessed life beyond any other nation ever. Nobody will have the blessings that I'm giving to you. You won't have the diseases that you saw in Egypt. You won't have all of the struggles and, oh goodness, how are we going to make ends meet? You're going into a land flowing with milk and honey. It's already built and set up for you. You didn't do any of it. You're going to go in here. You're going to drive out these nations. That's this next week's section. You're going to drive out these nations, but you're not the one actually doing it. All you have to do is obey me. I've got this. I don't even need you, but I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to have you do these things. And if you will do what I'm telling you to do, you will find joy. And so the struggle that they have and that we have even today is that sounds great until the doing of it.
Right.
And then it's like, you're 5 minutes in and you forgot already,
right,
all the benefits of the Lord.
Yeah. I think, like you said, we struggle with that today. But I think on the flip side, I don't know why I thought about this during the sermon, but it's all coming back to me now.
It's all coming back to me. It sounds like Mr. Pagano.
It's more Celine Dion.
Yeah.
But
Well, that too, but they're
That's
very
what I was-
similar.
yeah.
I've never been
I
able to
confuse
tell,
the two.
well,
Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, on the flip side of that,
only River Valley kids know who Joe Pagano is.
only old River Valley kids. Anyway, what was I talking about?
Celine Dion.
Yes, always.
It's all coming back to you now, the things that you thought of during the sermon. And,
Yes. Thank you, Celine. On the flip side of that, I think we're quick to think that we're somehow being punished when we do something wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And I've certainly thought that many times, like, oh, well, this is why this is happening to me because I'm not a good enough Christian or because I committed this sin or whatever. And then
And sometimes it's just the way it is.
Right. And I think that another Celine Dion song.
Also a Bruce Hornsby song. But,
but at the same time, I don't often look at the blessings when they come as what they actually are.
I think
maybe I'm a little too cynical at times.
Well, as a mom,
Yeah.
have you ever had a time when, and obviously your son is perfectly behaved and this doesn't apply, but have you ever had a time when it's like, okay, I want to give you this thing. We're going to go out, we're going to have this trip, we're going to go out for ice cream, whatever it is. And then disobedience keeps that from happening.
Right. Yeah.
Sure. And then the natural tendency that we have is, a lot of times, well, that's not fair. Right. Well, it's absolutely fair. It's exactly what, Mom, why are you doing this? But you're the one that did it.
Right.
I told you how this was going to work.
But the thing is, as a parent, and I love it when you use parental parallels because it makes it very clear for me because I can see that in my own life. It kills me
absolutely
to not be able to do those things.
Why does it kill you?
Because I love him so doggone much and I want to give him those things and I understand. Yeah, I understand. And another thing you brought up on Sunday was, these missteps or these sins or whatever, they don't make us not his children anymore.
Yeah.
But it does disrupt the relationship.
Right.
And that's all it is.
5 kids, now 12 grandchildren, even though
Jimmy Carter.
Even though I haven't been able to hold little Carter yet, but that's coming. He's still in the NICU.
I'm calling him Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. Oh, that's
because Kayla calls my child George Costanza.
I told your mom was talking about that. You and Kayla, before. But
I'm going, how's Jimmy?
She has no idea who George Costanza is.
She was going, George Costanza, and he's like, what?
This kid's got so many nicknames already. I haven't even met him yet, and he's Jimmy. He's Cornbread. Shelly will not allow me to call him Cornbread, which means I will call him Cornbread.
I saw Luke calling him Big C. I'm like,
Big
that's
C.
a good one.
I love it.
It's
awesome. Anyhow, as we look at, I don't even know what we were talking about. Oh yeah. So I got 5 kids, 12 grandkids, right? So as we're doing this, there are lots that the joy, the peace, the pleasure of the fellowship is. We'll turn the kids loose in the basement. I'm like, hey, don't touch this stuff over here. All this stuff is all over the room and broken. And okay, we're gonna have a little problem.
You had one job.
You're still my grandkid.
Right.
The relationship hasn't changed. In this moment, I'm not going to be able to let you have the fun I want you to have fun. As much as you want to have fun, I want even more than that. I want you to have fun. But if you don't do it right, then I can't have you do it, right? Because I love you too much to let you go down a bad path. How true is that? How much more infinitely true is that of God, who longs to give us good things, to bless his children. And so because we are his children, that's the entire I was going to say the entire focus, and that's not really accurate, but the whole, it's like the hinge point for everything that we see in reality, everything that we see recorded for us in Scripture, is God blesses the people that he's created. He is a good God to everyone. So even these pagan nations that he's already passed judgment on, they receive rain, and they grow these crops. They're living. I mean, that's maybe we don't think about that. They're already
They're
living in
period.
the land
Right.
of. Well, that's true too. That's going to come to an end very
Right.
soon. But they're living in this land of milk and honey that God has set aside for his people.
Right.
But they're there. They are receiving the benefits of this blessing, partly, at least partly, because God is setting up. And in the meantime, these others are blessed by it. There's so much that we can see in the reality of just the salt and light effect of God's people being in the world.
Mhm.
This the things that we think are normal today in the elevation of women and children and human rights and the concepts of freedom and self-government and all these things, these come out of the reality of God's people being in the world. So with all of the flaws of the Middle Ages and the medieval concept of Christendom and so on, and the cultural Christianity that came through that, the benefits to the world of that, despite the flaws, despite things like chattel slavery, it was so much better than it had been before, where there were all of the bad things as well without the good things. And so the influence of God's people in the world is huge. Blessings that God gives to his people spill out over onto others. The blessings that God is preparing for his people, others who are not his people get to enjoy and get to benefit from. So God, who makes the rain fall on the just and the unjust, has a specific tie to his own, right? Again, from a parent's perspective, I like seeing kids play. You get these little videos on Facebook or whatever that, with cute little kids singing songs, and it's adorable and I love it. It's not the same as my kids,
Right.
my grandkids. These are mine. And while I love all these other people and I want them all to have a great and wonderful, prosperous, flourishing life, not the same way
Right.
that I do for my kids.
Right.
I don't begrudge them. I don't want to ever, I'm not. I think we've all seen people who want to squash others to elevate their own. That's not
Even including parents.
right. Yeah, especially parents. I think, especially sports parents and band parents, and if you're involved in things now, you hate seeing that other kid be first chair all the time when my kid never gets to be first chair. That you get those kinds of things. That's sin corrupting it. But the natural inclination that I love all y'all. I want to see all the good things for all y'all, but mine are mine.
Right.
Mine are special. God has that same dynamic by design. So when we feel that there's a reflection of him in it, again, we have to be careful because it's corrupted by sin when it comes to us. But God delights to bless his children. He's going to bless everybody else too, but his focus is, you're mine. My heart is for you. You're the apple of my eye. So whatever else happens, you're special. You're different. Not because you're innately different. He's in chapter 7, he's already gone on to that, and he'll come back to it in chapter 9 to hammer it. It's not because you're great. It's not because you're the child by obedience. You're my child, therefore obey. And so we see that with Israel as well. As we're going into this whole thing, there's this, we're in this section that you could call the covenant motivation, right? So having reminded them of the covenant relationship, now he's reminding them, look, there are good, logical reasons why you should follow God. Mm-hmm. You should follow God, period. But there are benefits, practical benefits to following God. If you will walk with me, just let yourself be who you are made to be, I'm going to pour out blessing on you like you wouldn't even believe. And I don't think I brought it up in the sermon, but it just reminds me of Paul's doxologies in the New Testament at the end of Ephesians 3, 20, 21. And it's like, now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine, to him be glory. And so as we see that exuberance pouring out of Paul, it's because Paul gets it. We get to the end of Romans 11, he's talked about the sinful state of humanity and how God has intervened even though his wrath is being poured out, God reached down through the Son, appeased his own righteous wrath by the Son absorbing all of our sin, becoming, as he says in 2 Corinthians, becoming sin for us so that we can become the righteousness of God. God is doing all this. It's a monergistic thing. There's a single force working. It's not us, it's him. He's doing it. And he allows us, and he invites us, and he longs for us to come alongside and participate in this. Okay, so when we see this with Israel, Moses is now bringing home or re-emphasizing, because he's already emphasized it, so he's re-emphasizing, look, God is good. And if you will just do these things, keep the commands. Why? Because you're his. And this is expression of his heart. And if you will do what God has called you to do, then you will find that you are unlocking the blessings that he is already delighting to give you. He's got this all set up. He's planning to do it. He will do it. Now, whether it's going to be to you or to the next generation or whatever else. So God keeps saying, do this so that you can live long in the land and prosper and receive all these great blessings that I have for you. But you can't play games. So in each of these sections, he finishes with, do not be a part of them. Don't tolerate this worldliness. Burn their idols, bring this stuff to the ground. You can't have this. You can't be halfway in. You can't be married to me and still have your side chicks, whatever. You can't do that.
Right.
It's all or nothing.
Boy, if there was ever something we needed to hear today as well, that's probably it too.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to me. We don't really get to the law part, the giving of the law again, the details of it, until chapter 12. So we spend like 11 chapters of God saying these same things through Moses over and over again. You're mine. Let me remind you of how this has gone so far.
Right.
It ain't pretty, but I've been with you the whole time. I've done all these amazing things for you. And despite your rebellion, look how this has gone.
Right.
Now, if you will do this, you're going to be blessed. If you won't, it's not going to go well. You'll be treated like the people that you're trying to be like, right? If that's how you want to do it.
Play stupid games, win stupid prize.
Exactly. And it's so much, I guess this is why God, I guess this is why I talk the way I do, but it's for sure at least part of why God has given us marriage, sexuality, and family is to illustrate these things. So I keep coming back to the parenting type things because the scriptures do.
Well, and it makes everything just so clear.
Well, I mean, my goodness, as a parent, when you know your kid's tendency, right? And we do, right? We know, and we set them up. And we're like, listen, here's the deal. If you do this, it's going to be good. If you do this, it's going to be bad.
Right.
Let me tell you again,
Right.
And we go over and over. Here's how this is supposed to be. And man, it's going to be awesome if you do it right. Mm-hmm. But don't make me, the number of times that I've said either to my kids or to players I was coaching, look, if this goes wrong, don't blame me because you know what the standard is, you know what the choice is, and you're choosing to throw away the benefits. Right. And so 11 chapters is basically what we're seeing, all of this reminder of how good it is when we go with God, how bad it is when we go against God. It seems pretty straight, right?
And yet we still go against God.
And we do. And so, but it doesn't change our identity, right? It doesn't, Israel doesn't stop being Israel. Right. Even when God, quote, abandons Israel in the exile. So eventually this comes. Centuries later, generation after generation of rebellion, and God is long suffering and compassion, and he gives them some exile and he brings them back, and he gives them some punishment and he brings them back because he's trying to get them right. He's trying to discipline his people. Even when he casts down the nation and they go into Babylon and they're exiled, he still doesn't abandon them. I mean, some of the greatest books of the Bible come from that exile, right? And so then they come back from that and they rebuild Jerusalem and they rebuild the temple. And yes, we have the 400 silent years before we get to the New Testament, but God is so good to his people that even when they have given him every reason to collapse the relationship entirely, he doesn't utterly forsake them. He forsakes them as he tells them he's going to do, but he doesn't utterly forsake them. They don't stop being his people.
Right.
We do see, in New Testament theology, as Paul explains the things of the Old Testament, the reality. Oh, I just realized how long we've been going on this. That Paul has been that Paul has explained that not all who are of Abraham's genetics are of Abraham's faith, right? And so not all Israel are Israel. And
Right.
he goes into that in Romans in particular, but we see that throughout that this is all by faith. It's not you don't have the identity as being God's child
Right.
because you have an ID card that says that you're part of Israel or that you have joined a membership of a church or whatever else. The Lord knows those who are his own. And our sin disrupts our fellowship, but it doesn't take away our identity as his child. But as his children, we can't be half in and half out. We have to reject the godless world. And if we don't do that, then what we are doing is the converse, right? We're rejecting God.
And there's a lot to talk about with the state of the world today and doing that. Being
And
active
we'll
in
see
But
that more
yeah,
as we go along.
for sure.
here, so.
But we will stop for today. Like Rich said earlier, we're back in Deuteronomy, so join us. Never too late to join. Even 11. What are we in? 7 chapters in.
7 chapters.
7 chapters in.
Let's get at the end of chapter 7 now.
So join us if you're in the Southwest Lower Michigan area, or you can check out the sermons online on Sunday mornings or afterward here on the podcast. And you look like you want to say something. Nope. Okay. We'll stop there then.
I've said more than enough.
I've said too much. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you later. Thanks, YouTube. Shame on